that happened. Saturday, it's the night before the reading. For the past several days, I have been beating my brains in over these new ideas that I've had regarding the story and trying to make them fit into the outline. And I'm going to admit defeat here, guys. I can't do it. I can't do it. The new ideas that I've had, some of them are not working. And that happens. That happens with a writing process. But you know, you have to go down these rabbit holes and you have to explore these things, because that's what helps you craft and shape the story. You have to know what doesn't work sometimes in order to find what does work. And Jen, God bless you, you have been, this is my wife Jen, by the way, for those of you who are new to my channel or new to subscribing to me. She is my muse, she is my guide, my sounding board,
Sometimes I'm the one that tells them, you know what, that's not really working. Although that wasn't really what happened this time.
No, not really what happened this time. But I mean, how have I been today to deal with? Let me ask you that. Like, what from an outsider's perspective, what have you seen me doing today?
Well, stayed up all night writing, so slept really late, got up, stared at the screen, said you're a hack a bunch of times, and then tried to work through the story numerous times. And we've kind of figured out that a lot of things may need to change.
Yeah.
And some things need to just be thrown away.
Yeah. Instead of... I'm very, very happy with the first 31 pages right now. I'm very, very happy with that. I think that we have a great direction that we're going in. But at one point in struggling with so much of this story, I lost what I was trying to say and what the point was. I got so wrapped up in MacGuffins and backstory and trying to make things work, that to justify certain things, that it stopped being about the characters, it stopped being about their evolution, it started being about making all the puzzle pieces fit so I could look all clever and stuff. And ultimately that wasn't a good idea. So after a day of, after several nights and days of staring at the screen and being incredibly unhappy and writing and deleting and deleting and writing and writing and deleting and deleting and writing, I took a shower this afternoon after basically declaring that I'm the worst writer in existence, and came out with a couple of ideas, because the shower is my thinking space. And ultimately what I've decided is that I have to remember what the story is actually about. And this story is about two characters who wind up becoming, or actually four characters that wind up becoming unwitting philosophers. And they become enlightened as to society and as to the world and how it works. And they see injustice in the world, because the allegory of the cave is actually part of Plato's Republic, and that is about what makes a just society. And the allegory of the cave is specifically about philosophers and their roles in society. So I needed to remember that ultimately this is about how to make society better. So so what I'm doing is am I getting on the 5 or the 134?
Says 134.
Got it. All right. So ultimately what I'm doing is throwing away the last 70 pages of the script, and I'm going to rewrite them tonight.
And are you still doing the reading tomorrow?
Yes, I'm still doing the reading tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to write 70 pages tonight. But here's the thing. I know what I'm writing now, and I know what the message is. And the thing is that with all these other questions and things I'd been asking myself, I had lost sight of what this story was about, and now I have it again. So here's how this works. Brick and Brack, Mike's idea was that Brick and Brack, instead of getting kicked out of the Sepulchre of Madness, they leave. They escape, because otherwise they're going to be executed because an invader got past them. All right? So they escape. They are discovered in a clearing by Tim, who is a young boy whose older brothers went down exploring the cave, because anybody who comes out of the cave with the Sword of Dumas is declared the next king of the land. Okay?
I came up with that part. I came up with that part.
Yes, you did actually. Yes, that was Jen's idea, and it's quite brilliant. And I've gone back and worked it into the previous scenes. All of this is going to make a lot more sense if you watch the reading video, or if you've been following along during my writing sessions and you've seen me scroll through the early parts of the script. I'm pretty happy with all this part. Now, what happens is that they all get captured by a bunch of adventurers and are brought back to the nearby village where everybody lives. Brick and Brack are going to be killed. Tim mistakes Brick and Brack for his older brothers who have gone down into the dungeon looking for the sword themselves. What he doesn't know is that his older brothers have been killed down there. And he just kind of like adopts Brick and Brack and assumes that they're his brothers that have been transmorgified into monsters. Well, they go back to the village, and Claire, the local priestess, deaconess, and priestess in training of the goddess of truth and light, the goddess of enlightenment, realizes very quickly that Brick and Brack are not Tim's older brothers, but privately confronts them about this and offers them an ultimatum: either be torn apart by the mob, or she'll vouch for them and allow them to stay if they look after Tim, who is now an orphan, with no one to look after him. So they agree, and they're like, okay, we thought we were going to die. If we've got a chance at a life, how bad could it be? And they discover that life in the village is actually pretty good. They bond with Tim. They integrate themselves into the village. They are, they kind of become popular figures. And one day, they are in town when an adventuring party hauls another monster from the Sepulchre of Madness into the town square. And they torture this poor monster for information about where the sword is. The monster recognizes Brick and Brack and begs for help, and in order to not blow their cover, they ignore its cries. And unfortunately, the monster is done away with. Horrified at this, poor monster, hashtag justice for monsters. But horrified by all of this, they decide that something has to be done, and that going into the dungeon, this needs to stop, and that if the sword is gone, no one will go into the dungeon anymore, and the people in the dungeon, the monsters in the dungeon, can live in peace. They're not looking for fights. They're not going out. They just want to be left alone. And it's the invaders that keep coming down and disrupting everything because they're looking for their magic tchotchke that determines who sits on the throne. I'm sorry that this is so shaky, guys. This is on my dash mount right now. We are doing a quarantine road trip at the moment because I needed to get a breakout. And Jen and I do this once a week where we drive around parts of Southern California. And it's really cool. You can follow those along on Jen's Instagram stories, and I'll post a link in the comments or in the video description. So anyway, so they go delving into the dungeon. They decide that they have to go delving into the dungeon, and they discover that there actually is no sword. The sword is a rumor. The sword doesn't exist, and that it's a story that was put in place by the current stewards of the kingdom that are in power right now to secure their hold on the throne. They can't relinquish the throne until the true king returns, but there's no way to validate a true king, so how are they going to ever, so why would they ever leave? No one can ever challenge their claim. Discovering that there is no sword, but recognizing that this is a horrible system that takes advantage of people and is quite toxic, they decide that they need to do something. How do you prove that something doesn't exist? You can't prove a negative. Which is kind of ingenious, that this is something a fallacy that the current power structure relies on in order to justify its existence. So instead of challenging it head on with a complete absence of evidence that is easily dismissed, they lean into it. They create their own sword. They make their own claim. They take the throne, and they decide that as leaders and philosophers, they need to, as enlightened leaders and philosophers, they need to take responsibility for society. So the four of them wind up ruling the kingdom jointly in order to look after society for its best interests, because the enlightened need to lead society in a just fashion. it's going to be a lot smoother and a lot more exciting sounding when I have it all written out tonight. And this is kind of crazy that I'm literally dumping the last 2/3 of my script right now so I can put this in.
And you're going to write it up. But you know what?
I'm going to write it all in one night. But the thing is,
well.
I know what I want to do now. And honestly, yeah, I don't care if I'm keeping my eyes open with toothpicks at 4 o'clock tomorrow. There will be a finished draft, and it's going to be awesome.
And you do well under pressure.
Yes. All right. So, yeah, that's my challenge, guys, is getting it done tonight. This is a bonus vlog that I had no intention of recording, hence why it's all kind of very impromptu and in the car right now. But yeah, that's the fun of this. I will release it as a bonus video after we do the reading, so this way you guys can see the kind of crazy BS I went through in order to make this happen.
Turn left onto Colorado Boulevard.
Anyhow, we're gonna go check out the Eagle Rock in Eagle Rock right now. Follow along when we do future Southern California quarantine road trips on Jen's Instagram. Again, the link is in the video description below.
Go ahead and link all the...
And we're also going to link, you know, we should also give a big shout out right now to Michael Tioli, who's a good friend of ours. He has curated a whole bunch, like 7 or 8 quarantine road trips right now that you can actually just go through and discover different parts of Southern California in a road trip that you can go through without ever leaving your car. You can see some really awesome sites. So I'm going to put a link to SoCal Explorations, his blog. So folks here in LA and in the surrounding areas, you can go and check those out as well.
Do it. They're so good.
Do it. They're so good. And I post photos on my Insta, and Jen posts Instagram stories of us exploring different things. So yeah, worth checking out. Anyhow, I'm going to sign off now so I don't miss Eagle Rock. And yeah, I'll see y'all at some point. So it's so late that it's actually really, really early at this point. Been writing all night since Jen and I got back. The nice thing is I'm almost done with all of the original material, and everything else I have to do, I'm just adapting existing scenes to work with the changes. So hopefully I'm at the point now where it's all downhill from here. But it's 4:45 in the morning. The reading is in less than 12 hours. You know, I've been grinding hard. I've been grinding real hard. I've had, you know, most of a case of soda tonight just to keep going. Nights like these, you know, you kind of engage in your unhealthy practices just to get through. I'm very caffeinated right now. But, you know, I'm doing good. I feel like it's coming together. I'm confident that we will have this done in time for the reading. I'm confident that I will be able to get some sleep before the reading. You know, I'm feeling good. I've found, even after talking about everything I did earlier while I was driving, I found some new stuff, other things in there, and this story is taking on a couple of new dimensions. I'm afraid that there's going to be one character that is really, really underdeveloped in this, though, who I don't want to be ultimately, but I have to remind myself that, you know what, this is the second draft, it's not the final draft. I don't have to have everything right now. And I can solicit ideas and I can get help with how to develop that stuff from everybody I'm going to talk to today. I don't have to come up with everything right now, and it doesn't have to be perfect show ready right now. I'm not saying that I don't want every draft to be everything that it can be, but there's so much new stuff that I don't know how it's going to land. I need to see if that's going to work first before I can incorporate one more plot arc, I think. But like I said, I'm pretty happy. I got Bailey, who's been jumping on me throughout the night. He's just over there kicking it right now. I've had this fan running to help keep everything cool. I turned it off though because, you know, it's loud. Yeah. Oh, Bailey's getting ready to sack out, I think. He'll be asleep in a few minutes. I should be asleep too, but, you know, I'll get to do that soon. It's not done yet, but I'm happy with this draft. I'm happy with what's coming out of it. I'm excited for this story. I still think this is probably going to change. There are probably some things that are going to land and some things that aren't. And this draft will see some changes. But I like what's coming out right now. I just really, really hope that it continues to develop. And I keep finding new things with it. Yeah. Anyway, like I said, 4:45 a.m. I just wanted to share my thoughts and my feelings and let you all know that, yeah, this was and is an all-night affair. But, yeah, I'm excited. I'm proud. It's almost there. This draft is almost done. And, now that Jen and I talked through everything with some of these new ideas, I feel like it's really all coming together. So, yeah. Anyhow, that's it for now. I'll give my thoughts before and after the reading, too. Yeah, awesome. So it's the day after the reading. I've decided to change my scenery here a little bit because I've seen nothing but the inside of my apartment an awful lot lately. It'd be nice to get a little bit of even indirect sunlight at this point. It's roughly 24 hours after the reading, and it's taken me a while to process my thoughts. It was a learning experience. I'm not going to lie. I was not happy with the last 2/3 of the script. All that stuff that I've been talking about rewriting. Yeah, I had to rewrite all that stuff over and over because I kept being unsatisfied with the outline that I'd put forward and was just thinking of making little tweaks here and there to try and make it make more sense. And every time I made a change, it had a domino effect on everything else, which got to be very frustrating, was very apparent. The other thing is when you're actually writing a show based on philosophy, like we are with the Allegory of the Cave, whenever you're writing a story that has a very heavy philosophical bent, the funny thing is you pull on one thread, you answer one question, and 10 more questions pop up. And when we're talking about the concept of justice in a society, then yeah, things got deep real fast. I found myself going down lots of rabbit holes, just barely touching them, and then moving on because I had a page count that I was trying to stick to, and exploring some of these themes would have been would have taken things in a very different direction. So ultimately, I wound up with a back half of the show that was kind of like a nothing burger. It just felt like it didn't have any purpose. I mean, I'm very happy with the first half. I'm very, very happy with the first half. I thought that everybody was well motivated. I felt like that the beats were strong, and then the minute it got into a little bit more esoteric territory, it kind of just died. But you know what? This is a second draft. That's okay. This is where we're allowed to do things like that. We're allowed to take some big swings and misses, and boy, howdy did I. So I'm not going to beat myself up. What I am going to do is I'm going to go back to the basics. I'm going to go back to the grit. I am going to actually chart out a brand new outline, one that I am satisfied with, one that I feel like answers everything that we're trying to say. I also am going to write a lot of backstory because I kept struggling with basic questions like who is this machine that they're raging against and what is their motivation? Because these are things that when I had the first draft was a lot more character driven. The second draft, I was trying to be a lot more plot focused and realized that I had a lot of plot holes and things that I hadn't decided yet. And anytime I answered one of those questions, that's part of what triggered the 5 more questions about, oh my God, what does that mean? So I clearly need to put a lot more thought into the backstory of the world in general. And I might need to consolidate a few characters because I feel like some were given the short shrift in the draft, but also some folks were completely redundant. And unnecessary. So, there's a lot of thinking that needs to be done about this on a structural basis. It was a painful experience. Everybody was incredibly positive. Everybody said that they liked it. Everybody said that they were happy, to offer feedback, and their feedback was smart and incisive, and everybody was incredibly supportive. But my complaint is not the people. I just felt embarrassed because I felt like I served up an undercooked dinner. That's kind of how it felt to me, was that it was an undercooked dinner. And I kind of had that feeling as I was finishing it up because, as you'll see in the previous clip, I shot a clip at 4:30 in the morning. Well, I didn't finish the script until 11 a.m. and sent it off to them at 11:01. And I was like, I just have to put a cap on this because I can't keep going down rabbit holes. So, you know, the smartest thing to do probably would have been push off the reading until I had some of these questions answered. But if nothing else, I at least have codified now a whole bunch of questions, and I have reference for this. So this is great. I'm going to choose to look at this positively and say that I'm going to get a lot out of this experience, because you learn a lot more from making mistakes and from failing than you do from succeeding. That is to say that I don't want to say this is a failure. I finished the draft of a libretto. Whether it's good or not is irrelevant. I finished the damn thing, and that is an accomplishment. So I accomplished something, and I'm proud of that, and I'm happy with it, and I'm incredibly grateful to everybody that came and participated in the reading, and I'm incredibly grateful to everybody that came and that came and gave their feedback. Seth, Corinne, Steve Peterson, you were there for a minute. Gary Lamb. I'm so sorry that it's all blanking right now. I'm shooting this off the cuff. Normally I try to at least have notes written, but I'm shooting off the cuff right now. But everybody that came to the reading and checked it out, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your presence, and I really appreciate your support and your feedback. So yeah, I'm going to do a little bit of world building, and I'm going to kind of make a Bible for the universe, a simple one. Doesn't have to be anything too complex. I'm going to make a simple Bible for the universe, and I'm going to draw the story from there. I'm going to set that in Bedrock with Mike, and then I'm going to do that there. I think I can get most of it written up tonight, because I've been thinking about this for 24 hours straight, like literally was dreaming about this show while I was asleep. So, yeah. Tomorrow I'm going to have some time to meet with Mike face to face, socially distanced with masks and coffee, because coffee is life. So we're going to meet and sit and talk, and I'm going to present this document to him, because it's all right there. I just need to put it on paper. And, you know, I know that Mike doesn't want to be on camera, and that's totally fine. That's totally his thing. But, you know, I think when it comes to this mini-series, I'm going to post the reading on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. I'll post the reading and all of the feedback for First Glory, because I think it's important that, you know, I mean, you could think that maybe that would be embarrassing for me to share something I'm not entirely proud of. I think it's important to share the struggle as much as it is to share the success. I think the struggle needs to be documented and shared, and that the failures are just as important, because I think all too often we see this carefully curated Instagram life that is just so perfect, and nobody ever screws anything up, and nobody ever makes any mistakes, and everything is great. I think it's okay every once in a while to let people see you sweat. So that's what I'm going to do. You know, I'll let you guys see the reading, and if you check it out, it's about a 3-hour video, so good luck. But, you know, take a chance. Watch me sweat. And then, hopefully, with the next draft, with the next step, with each inch forward, you're going to watch me soar. Okay. So, yeah, that's it for the moment. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you guys are getting some sun. I know I need to get more sun in all of this. I've just been hanging out since it's over 100 degrees out here lately. I've just been hanging out in my air conditioning. If you're enjoying this video, do me a favor, go on down, scroll down, give me a like. And if you are enjoying talking about the creative process, I'd love to discuss it with you. Please, you know, leave a comment. And if you're enjoying witnessing me beat myself up over and over again trying to make a story happen, please give me a subscribe, because I will give you a whole lot more of that. Next week, I'm going to be coming at you with a video about recording my own voiceover demo reel, but don't worry, I will be getting you more Monsterlicious content in the future. So do me a favor, wash your hands, wear a mask when you go out in public. We got our masks right here. We got Harvey's masks. And, you know, be well. I'll see you next time.